How's it going, guys? So, figured today I'll do a quick tour of the Heliamphora setup. As you can see, everything's growing in really nice. I divided most of these plants up back in November, and we're already sort of getting back to jungle status, so always happy to see good growth. Start off back here, we got Heliamphora uncinata in the back. That's Uncinata Andy Smith right there, which is probably my favorite. Got the giant form there. Uncinata E on the right, and then a seed grown from Best Carnivorous Plants there on the left. We've got some Heliamphora sericinoides. And they're sort of unique in the genus in that they don't have a nectar spoon. They sort of get that hooded appearance to the pictures. Really cool. As you can see, I got a couple different clones, some more colorful than others. Up next, Heliamphora exappendiculata. Again, got a couple different forms of it here. That's the Ewok right there, which is a really sort of miniature form of it. Only gets a couple inches tall. Another little one down there. And then these are both Heliamphora nutans. And nutans is a lot of times considered to be sort of a bland species, but as you can see, depending on the locality, they can be really pretty. And moving over, these are Chimontensis here. Got two different forms of it. Again, sort of a small growing clumping species, which is nice if you're limited on space. And then we have a whole bunch of different Heliamphora minor clones. They really aren't looking their best at the moment. They were sort of overcrowded and in desperate need of dividing, so still sort of in recovery mode, but definitely looking better. There's the burgundy black down in there. I know everybody loves that one. And then down here in the front are a whole bunch of different Heliamphora pulchella. And Pulchella is a great species because all the localities are very distinct looking, so you can have a nice collection of just Pulchella, and they all look fairly different. Again, a lot of these were divided fairly hard, so they're not looking their absolute best at the moment. And there is one little Heliamphora hispida down there in the corner. All right. And moving over, this one is Heliamphora calina, which is sort of a lower elevation species. So it's supposedly a little bit more warmth tolerant, but it does just fine in highland conditions, so warmth is definitely not a necessity. And we have Heliamphora hueberi, one of the most underrated species in the genus in my opinion. You really don't see it in collections too often, but it's a really easy growing plant and is absolutely beautiful. Then another sort of supposedly more heat tolerant variety, this is Heliamphora ciliata, oftentimes called the lowland Heliamphora. But again, it's in absolutely true highland conditions, if not ultra highland conditions this time of year, and does absolutely fine. And this one is Heliamphora hueberi as well. This is the Angosima tepui form. Gets a little bit more color. And this is Heliamphora ionasi. And this is the killer or red giant clone from Andreas Wistuba, which is supposedly the nicest form in cultivation. And just judging by what I'm seeing at a fairly small size, I'd agree with that. Just opened that trap a couple days ago. And moving back, this is Ionasi G, which is another selected clone from Andreas. It did not ship well, unfortunately, and lost basically all of its pitchers for a while and was more or less a rhizome. But happily it pushed out a bunch of new growth points and is starting to fill back in. Got another hueberi here. That trap just opened up, really pretty. And this is Ionasi elegans, which is another selected form. It's a really wide open mouth with those really, really vibrant gold hairs on the inside of the pitcher. Gorgeous plant. And then everybody's favorite, Heliamphora MacDonaldae. Kind of hard to beat that. This is an Aeroflora clone I got from Red Leaf Exotics a while back. And then behind it is my much larger one I got from Wistuba, I want to say back in 2018, so I don't know the exact clone number. Nevertheless, very nice plant. And as you can see, it recently popped that pitcher on the secondary growth. And then kind of tough to get in back here, but there's a nice Tadii tucked in back there. That's a Duida locality, I believe. And then my big Neblinae in the back, and that's a Sarah Neblina form. Another big Ionasi. That one is, I believe, a seed-grown one from Drew Martinez. I got from Jeremiah Harris as a division a while back. And then another one of my favorites, this is Heliamphora species Acopan, which is a currently undescribed species. It definitely deserves to get a description. It's a really unique plant, really beautiful. Don't know why taxonomists are ignoring it. And another Ionasi here. This is an Ilu Tepui from Wistuba. I don't remember the exact clone on that one. All right, and then moving up here, we got another Ionasi. This is the Zapperget clone. And then another one everybody loves. This is Heliamphora flamingo, which I believe is the only variegated Heliamphora in cultivation. Looks like I'm getting a secondary growth on it, which is nice. Next to that, I have two Heliamphora elongata. The one with the flower right there is the wavy form. And then, kind of tucked down in there, is another, I believe that's an Andreas Wistuba clone. Still juvenile, but starting to get some size to it, so I'm hoping to see some adult traps on it fairly soon. And then that's Heliamphora electrum, which is another fairly recently described species. I believe for a long time it was known as species Venemo. Then we have Neblinae, and this is the Avispa form. Really, really nice plant. You don't see the Avispa forms of Neblinae nearly as much as the Neblina. I absolutely love those hairs on the inside of the pitcher on these. And then this is Heliamphora parva. This is clone 13.3 red from Wistuba. And it's definitely a slower growing clone and stays smaller, but has really great color and is super fuzzy, so I love it. Probably my favorite parva. And we have a little Tadii there. This is a seed-grown Tadii from California Carnivorous, which I believe is Duida by Marahuaca. Then we have some Heliamphora seracea. So this is Jeff Wong here in the front. Not looking its best at the moment, still sort of recovering. And then a Wistuba clone behind it. Heliamphora glabra. Really pretty species. Love that lime green and almost bright yellow that the pitchers get. Behind that is Heliamphora purpurescens. Another sort of unique one. It gets sort of a hooded nectar spoon on it. And then we move these flower spikes out of the way. That is Neblinae Mysterious Giant. Also still sort of in recovery mode, but showing some nice pitcher jumps, so hopefully it will get giant fairly quickly. Back here, this is Heterodoxa Grand Sabana. And this is the true Heterodoxa. Many of the plants you see in cultivation are hybrids, so the real species is a really, really nice plant. Don't see it nearly as often as you do the hybrid. And then these are all folliculata. A couple different localities, all looking really good, getting huge. Really need to give them more space. And back here, this is Parva Extremely Hairy, which is the one everybody wants. It's definitely a nice plant. I still prefer the 13.3 just for the coloration, but this one also didn't really ship that well and kind of sat there doing nothing for months on end until it finally decided to start growing for me again. And then all the way in the back, that is Parva Clone 0802, which is probably my most vigorous Parva, and as you can see is developed into quite the clump. Does have some flowers on it at the moment as well. I tried making some crosses with, I don't know if those took. But yeah, everything's looking really nice in here. And I guess I can show you the secondary tent on this system, which is over here. Zip this up real quick. And this tent is more or less just sort of overflow at the moment. So these are all divisions I took back in November. And I already sold a bunch, but as you can see, I still have plenty left to go. Probably have these available come springtime when the weather's a little bit more conducive for shipping. And yeah, I definitely have some nice ones still available. Nice McDonald day there. And then at the back, I just have a couple sort of spare plants, larger divisions, and some more temperature-sensitive Nepenthes. Here's a seed-grown Nepenthes villosa. And behind it, a new addition from Red Leaf. This is a seed-grown Nepenthes Raja, so I'm really excited to watch that one grow. Get massive eventually. And then one non-carnivorous plant back here. This is a Orictanthe, which is basically a Tepui plant that grows alongside Heliamphora. So just kind of a cool one to have in with your Helis. They get really, really neat shaped rosettes as they get big. And then a couple sphagnum cultures over here. A couple plants waiting to be shipped out. And then a couple sort of random division stuff kind of in the ICU area back in the corner there. Not looking its best at the moment. Hopefully they all recover. But yeah, really happy with how everything's looking in here. All the plants recovered really well from the dividing and repotting back in November, and yeah, definitely going to have plenty of divisions available come springtime for those interested. So yeah, if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I'll be doing these videos about once a month, both on the Nepenthes and the Heliamphora setups. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Highland Tropicals for more regular updates. Thanks for watching.